Hey there, and welcome. This is Diane Cunningham Ellis, and I am really excited to be here today with my own husband. And he is, yes, I knew he was going to wave, which is good. He's in the next room, but we are both here to record this. I invited him, well, I asked him uh, about a week or two ago whether he would be willing to be an expert. He is an expert in many things, but I asked him whether he would be willing for me to interview him related to my program called the Nourish Life Club and really share his wisdom as a husband, as a man, as a um, business owner. I mean, I'm not sure exactly. We don't have this scripted, and that's good. But we are going to talk about nourishment and some pieces to that. And I'm delighted to get you to meet him. So, dear husband, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Mr. Diane Ellis.
Yes.
I'm Jim Ellis. Been married to Diane for just over 3 years, and I run a private investigations company here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I started that after a 29-year career as an FBI agent. So, and Diane was, I don't think I could have got my business started if it hadn't been for Diane. Not just the encouragement, but just the knowledge she had, because I knew nothing, honey.
Well, you've done amazing things as I didn't know you when you were in the FBI, but I've watched you as you've created your entrepreneurial life and watched you come to life really as you did that because you were back in your passion. Working in a cubicle at a school district was not your passion. And
No.
it paid the bills for a little bit, and then it was time for you to create JKE Texas. And so, and you know, as business owners, we have highs and lows. And the great thing is that we can have our coffee break in his room or my room, and we get, you know, both of us are really very driven, and that's good and bad. It's good and bad. We both get into our offices like really early in the morning and we work and but we can take breaks. We can take breaks and we do. And then we also finish a certain time every day and we leave our offices and, you know, we migrate to the kitchen for some combined dinner and then we migrate and relax together. So do you have anything else you'd like to share before I dive into my questions?
No, dive in, please.
Thank you for being a good sport, honey.
Sure.
So I have created what's called the Nourish Life Club, and we just launched that. And but Jim has been a part of watching that evolve because it was an idea. It was an idea lost. Everything that is an idea becomes not everything, but yeah, as an entrepreneur, you can have an idea and it can become reality, including a book, a program, a process, a weekend. Let me grab my Nourish book. So this started as a spiral bound worksheet thing that we created in September, and I ran over to Office Depot and had them print 5 copies, right? And I rolled out a program and someone signed up. Magical, magical. But then it evolved into this little paperback book. And then now it's become a membership, and it's called the Nourished Life Club. But and we've created some really cool, I guess, visual reminders of showing like what's it like when I'm not nourished, and then what is it like for me as a woman when I am. And I'm sure this all relates to men as well, but I serve women. So my question for you and I want you to just be very honest and open, and there's no right or wrong here. And unless you might get in trouble later at dinner. But
Right.
so my question for you, Jim, is what is it like I'm a woman that has struggled with these things a lot, you know, for years and years of taking good care of myself, not beating myself up, not getting into diet mentality. And you've watched me lose weight, gain weight, lose weight, gain weight. Actually, more in the losing section. But you've also watched me be really hard on myself, and very much in a shame. I would call it a shame cycle. So my question for you is, what is it like for you to be with a woman, me, who is in a state of nourishment, versus what is it like to be with me when I'm in that fear and that shame?
Sure. I mean, when we first met and got married, um, I didn't know that you even had any food issues. Um, Obviously, I fell in love with you, and obviously, I loved the way you look. But I didn't know what it was doing to you on the inside. I mean, you were 20, 30 pounds heavier then. Um, and I didn't know what was going on in your head. I didn't know what you were suffering. I know you like to eat peas and carrots for lunch every day, and um, it just seemed, I just wasn't aware. But leading up to our marriage, I think that's the first time you went, and I would say it was a diet. I mean, you tried Whole 30, right, honey? And your goal, which I think it's like a lot of women's goal, is to lose weight right before their wedding. And so that didn't strike me as anything unusual. But then it got to where you were literally tied to the scale, and I could see your day could be, how the day looked to you was going to be based on what those numbers were on that scale. And obviously, if you gained or even stayed the same, it could have a negative impact on the whole way that you might look at things. You progressed, and you've tried different programs, and you've tried different eating styles, and I don't look at that as a diet. As you progressed and started to think more about your body, think more about your happiness, think more about your serenity, you try different things just to see if they work for you, right? Just to see if it was something that you could incorporate into your life. And I think you've reached a great balance in that you're not a diet Nazi. You're not a slave to to a certain program. I mean, you'll try different things, but it's, what was it? A week and a half ago, we helped my son Sam move. Afterwards, I didn't suggest it. Diane says, I want a cheeseburger and French fries. And we went and had cheeseburger and French fries from Muya's. And I think you enjoyed it. I don't think you felt any guilt out of it, because you knew that's just that moment, that meal at that time. And that's not going to make you, either direction. It's not going to make you extremely overweight, and it's not going to make you extremely skinny. It's what you needed at that time. We worked hard, you were tired, you depleted a lot of energy, and you wanted a boost. And then that was it. You weren't off to the races eating ho-hos and ding dongs, right? you got right back to what made you feel good, putting the things in your body that makes you feel good. So it's for me, as a husband of a woman who's walked the journey, it's not a hard lifestyle. I mean, for me, right? I mean, it's because what you eat, and it isn't weird, isn't extreme. It's not like the sliced tomato, grapefruit, and roast beef diet, right? I mean, it's well balanced, it's healthy, and it's stuff that I eat. And I guess fortunately, it's helping me to lose weight as well. But that's the physical aspect of it. The mental aspect is you've gained a sense of freedom. You know, in freedom, and it's weird. It's you have a sense of freedom because you've established certain types of routines. It's like, you know, you don't. It's a rare morning that you miss working out. It's a rare morning that you miss a recovery meeting. Um, then you get to work, and then you decide how you're going to eat that day, and that those type of routines I give us, I think, a lot of freedom to be happy, to be satisfied with what life is offering us. Did I answer it?
Yes.
I was reading what you typed, and no.
Yes, you did really good. So,
Thanks, appreciate it.
yes. Whoops. Okay. Pause. So what you mentioned a couple things that I just want to highlight is that you and I both, and I pre-approved this conversation. You and I are both in recovery, and so
Right.
I'm in recovery from alcoholism, but also in recovery from diet and food and all the addictions that can come over there. And it's confusing. It's complicated. It's confusing. It's you know, I can put the plug in the jug and never drink again. But with food, every day we have to choose. And you have walked through, with me through many kind of weird diets that you don't remember or you didn't mention, like everything from, you know, 28 days of eating meat, carnivore.
Oh, I
Um,
remember.
but but you have also been very gracious to me, as you know, that this is one of my big struggles, and knowing that you can't rescue me, and
Right.
that this is where I have a sponsor and I have a program, and I am seeking help and recovery in the areas where I still get twisted up. And that's really a part of what I would say is kind of the when I'm nourished, I'm not relying on you for all of my validation. When I
Oh,
am
absolutely.
when I'm nourished, you know, I'm asking for help. I'm, like you mentioned, I'm attending a 12-step meeting. I'm exercising. I am having time with you and with my girlfriends. I'm learning to do, you know, what are the healing routines, you know, that I help my day, like taking a bath every night
Right.
or, you know, journaling. And I'm, you know, learning how to stay off the scale. So I'm off the scale right now, which is hard for me. And it's even just last night, I was whining about not being on the scale, not knowing whether I was doing it right or wrong, not knowing whether I was gaining or losing. And I have to remember I'm okay no matter what. And that I actually wrote on my scale, or not my scale. I have a calendar. I have 30 years of calendars, in fact, of where I've written down my scale and my weight every morning in there. And, you know, my weight's gone up and down and up and down. And it just is this piece of where I can think I have control. I think I can control my life when I am controlling my calories, or when the scale is going the right direction. It can give me a false sense of ego. It can make me think, oh, I've got this, and I don't. That I have to let go of all that. So on my calendar on my wall, I wrote last month, dear Diane, this is none of your business. Your weight is none of your business, because it doesn't matter. And it probably makes me a lot kinder and nicer to be to be with.
A little bit.
Is there anything that you would want to say? You know, I think some women have support from their husband in in all of this, like nourishing behaviors. And I would say there's some women I know that their husband maybe does not financially support that or emotionally support that. What are your thoughts on on that?
Well, to me, and again, I'm getting a lot of this from what you and I have talked about in the past. It's those negative comments that seem to cut the deepest and take the longest to heal. And a husband, an uncle, a father, mother may not actually realize it's such a damaging comment. They may think they're being helpful, right?
Mm-hmm.
They may think that they're they're giving great advice. So the the whole idea of having any type of obsessive personality, I guess, the logic from the outside voices don't do any good, right? It's something that's inside and something that has to be addressed. It was through a structured program. I think for me that's AA. Um, um, you, you know, and that's something that I work on, and it's something that I have my support system. Now, you obviously are part of that support system, but when it comes down to the decisions I make in terms of my recovery or lack thereof, you're not part of it. And that's not mean, right? That's just because it's not you, it's not Diane, it's not anybody else. It's all what's in here and what's up here. So the best advice I could give to spouses, to husbands, is understand that it's a process, and it's something that your loved one has to go through. Mm-hmm. And don't be giving them all your wisdom. You probably have the answer, man. But don't give it. because anybody going through something like this, through the struggles of any type of you could think you're the greatest thing on earth in terms of whatever, or you could be so down on yourself in terms of whatever issue. The outside voices don't help. It really is the inside. So it's just love and compassion and tolerance is the only thing that I think a husband can give, and just supporting them in their walk, not lecturing, not commenting. I guess though, if Diane asked, do I look great?
The answer is yes.
Answer is yes. Well, I mean, like I said, you still look great to me. I mean, I see something. Well, I like the outside, but I see something more on the inside. But yeah, it's just, and it's also I think important for the spouses, for the husbands, to know it's not a straight line that anybody who's trying to recover from a food obsession or any type of obsession, it's not a straight line from A to B. There's a lot of zigs and zags, and there's probably even a lot of backward steps. So that you can't be ready to pounce when they fail, because going backwards isn't necessarily a failure. It's just maybe a time to reroute and go a different way. Because, like I said, I mean, honey, you still try different things. It's just trying to see what works. What worked for you when you're age 22 may not work for you when you're, am I allowed to say, 48? So so you have to adapt and figure out what's going to. Heck, when I was 22, I could eat cheeseburgers, ho-hos, ding-dongs, and drink a case of beer and be great the next day. All three of those things, or cheeseburger, ho-hos, ding-dongs, a case of beer. All four of those things would knock me for a loop now. So we change. So the way we approach our bodies and our minds and our hearts have to change as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And you and I know sometimes I call it the freedom experiment. When we go out and eat something, there's things that I allow into my life, on occasion. And
Yeah.
I know that I don't bring it home because it calls to me in the middle of the night, right? And there's certain things that we can do, and I believe that that's good, that we can explore, and we can explore different types of eating, we can explore different places to eat, and that God, like you said, what works for me this year is actually way different than it was a couple of years ago because of body changes and medications. And same with anybody. We have to be
Mm.
in our today. So I just love you so much. I've like fallen in love with you even more on this video interview, which um, I'm gonna let you loose from. We've had technology challenges, but it's been good. And I believe that a nourished woman can laugh, just like we just did. I can laugh, I can learn, I can let go. I'm never going to do it perfect. There is no perfect. There is no perfect husband. There's no perfect marriage. Even just this morning, uh, I said something that I felt like was out of turn to my husband, and was obsessing over it a little bit. And he didn't think a thing of it, but I needed to clear up what we call my side of the street, because I don't want to. There's a lot of us that don't do that, and then we have 10 years worth of anger, 10 years worth of resentment, 20 years of kind of shoving it under, or eating my feelings, eating my words. And so we cleaned it up, we're all good, and we can go on. And that's really a gift of recovery. It's a gift of maturity. It's a gift of the relationship that you and I have. And we've had a fight or two in our journey, and we had to learn from those as well. We really did. But there is no perfect. There's no and you're gonna all of this that looks really pretty on these pieces of paper is much harder than it looks, right? It's a daily. All I have is today. All I have is today in my
Oh,
sobriety, my marriage.
yeah. And regarding these, there is no finish line. There
Mhm.
really isn't. I mean, because it's so much more than just how your body looks. It's how you think, it's how you approach it, and um, how your body looks one day could give you a temporary high, but it's just temporary. You'll find something else to nitpick, and I don't mean you. So it's it's dealing with what's wrong up here and what's wrong here, um, to help improve your overall health, to help improve your decision making, and to realize, none of us shy, and we're going to continue to work on these things. We're going to continue to work on life, until the day that God calls us home. So you don't get perfection until you get next to God. And fortunately, I think in the long run, it's not going to be in this world. So
Well, I just love you, honey, and
I love you, honey.
love you. Have a good rest
Here's
of
our
your day.
here's our biggest difference. I like it dark. Diane likes it light.
Yes, and look at all this color, and look at all that space.
Yes, space, dark, bland. That's me.
We jokingly say that he's facts and I'm feelings, and so you can see evidence of that right here in these rooms next to each other. And anyway, I am so grateful that you came on here, and I'm going to be grateful when you help me edit this video and make it really cool. And I love you, and I will see you in a minute.
See you as soon as we open the door.
Bye.
Hi.